The number of viewing decks, galleries and viewpoints in and around London has increased over the past few years. To gain planning permission, developers are increasingly required to include public spaces, which are often at the top of new buildings. While due to the 1,016-foot cap on the height of developments in central London means they can't rival many of New York's, such as the Edge, which I visited recently, one thing London has in its favour is that many of them are free as they're public spaces. In this video, I'm going to run through 3 of my personal favourites in the city and 3 viewpoints which are just outside of the city but give you great views back onto the skyline of London. So let's start with those in the city. We can divide them into 3 broad types. The higher ones where you have to pay, the higher ones that are free, and the often historic buildings which have viewing platforms. They're lower in height, but they often have a fee as well. They all have different entry requirements. Many require booking, even the free ones, but some only allow walk-ups. Where they charge, it can be from a few pounds up to the New York type prices. I won't cover Horizon 22 as this is covered in another video that I did recently, and I'll put a link above. So the first one is another relatively high one, the Sky Garden, which is at the top of the walkie-talkie building, 20 Fenchurch Street. The public gallery is on floor 35, which is at about 500 feet, 160 metres, so only half the height of the Shard or Horizon 22. But it makes up for that by having 360-degree views and having an outdoor terrace facing south and a large indoor garden. This makes it popular as a year-round attraction, even when the outdoor viewing platform is closed due to the weather. For photography, it's similar to Horizon 22, and I'd recommend taking a wide-angle lens, perhaps a short telephoto lens, and then perhaps a longer telephoto lens. But don't take a tripod because they're not allowed in the Sky Garden, and what you'll find is most of these viewing platforms and galleries don't have anywhere for you to leave things at the bottom. Whilst it's free, tickets are required and it's popular. Tickets are released on a Monday, 3 weeks out. Tickets are timed and your time in the Sky Garden is limited to 1 hour. When I looked today, which is a Monday, there were quite a lot of tickets still available for 3 weeks out. So if you get in on the Monday or Tuesday, I'm sure you will get some availability. Whilst general access is free, you can pay to go into the Sky Garden for early access, which is between 8 in the morning and 9. It's £9.50 and includes a hot drink. Equally, you can go in on music nights, which is between 7 in the evening and 9 in the evening, and it includes a glass of champagne. So it may be worth looking at these paid options if you want to go in around sunrise or sunsets at different times of the year and you want to spend a bit longer there. For my second favourite, it's St Pauls Cathedral, an iconic location, and until recently photography was quite restricted inside and actually only possible on 2 designated evenings per year which were ticketed. This has been relaxed and now there are fewer restrictions on times or areas, for example during the services. And you can't take photos on the Whispering Gallery, which is for safety reasons because it's quite a low balustrade and you could easily drop your camera over the edge, which would be a safety issue for those below. The real opportunity is to go higher though, to the Stone Gallery, which is on the outside at the base of the dome. And then you can go up further, climbing between the inner and outer domes to a small window that looks back down inside the cathedral, and to the Golden Gallery, which is right at the top of the dome at about 300 feet or 100 metres. The Golden Gallery isn't for those of a nervous disposition, as it's barely a couple of feet wide and just has a low metal railing around it, but you do get some amazing views which are quite unique back around across the city. Again, this is one for a wide angle lens or a short telephoto. There's not much space on the Golden Gallery at the top, and the climb is quite tight and 528 steps, so packed small and light. Considering the views, it's worth the fee at between £20 and £25 at the moment, depending on whether you book in advance, and the money is going to maintain an icon, and it's one price for access to all areas of the cathedral. My third offering is down in height and in price, but it's still characterful, and it's the monument. To give it its full name, it's the Monument to the Great Fire of London, which started nearby in 1666. Again, it's a climb, although only 311 steps this time up to the stone viewing platform at the top, which sits at about 200 feet, 60 metres, and gives 360-degree views. It does, though, have a wire mesh over it for safety reasons, but with careful choice of settings, that mesh can disappear. Again, a wide angle or a short telephoto is what you want to take here, as it's relatively tight at the top and the climb is up quite a narrow spiral staircase up inside the monument itself. It's open most days between 9:30 and 5:30, although it does close for lunch between 1 and 2 p.m. It's only £6 to get in, and if you add the Tower Bridge experience, where you can walk across between the two pillars and look down through a glass floor onto the road below, you get a 20% discount, and that makes it below £15 for both the monument and the Tower Bridge experience. So great value. So those are my three favourites in the city, which if you add Horizon 22 gives you 4. There are other options and they're all good, they're all slightly different, but sometimes you just want to get out of the city a little way and look back at the skyline. And luckily, London is blessed with some hills and viewpoints, and I'll quickly cover 3 of the main ones, which are all easy to get to using public transport and no more than about 5 miles from the Shard. For number 1, we're going to go east to Greenwich Royal Observatory, which you may have seen in another of my videos. It sits on the Greenwich Meridian and is on top of a hill, so the mariners and people could set their time by the red ball dropping once a day. It used to be a little tricky to get to Greenwich, but now with the Docklands Light Railway, which goes under the Thames to Greenwich, it's easy to get there, and with a short walk up to the observatory and the views back towards Canary Wharf and central London. Greenwich is really nice as somewhere to go, and there are plenty of photo opportunities for street photography, and you can visit the National Maritime Museum and the Queen's House Gallery for free also. Equally, you can get a boat to and from Westminster Pier or the Tower of London, which give you some great views of central London from the river. For number 2 on the list, we are a little closer into central London and to the northwest a little bit. Primrose Hill is a Grade 2 listed park just north of the larger Regent's Park. It's a natural hill that stands about 200 feet or 60 metres, so about 20 metres higher than Greenwich. It's an easy walk to the top and you get panoramic views back to the London skyline, which is about 4 miles, 6 kilometres back to the Shard. I'd say it's best when the sky has some interest, so perhaps around sunrise, sunset, or when there are some interesting cloud formations. For this one, you probably want a telephoto, either a short telephoto if you want to get a wider panorama, or a longer telephoto if you want to get some of the detail. The viewpoint is also great for people watching, and afterwards take a walk down to the Primrose Hill area at the bottom of the viewpoint, which is a haunt of celebrities and has a villagey feel and is fairly affluent. So the final of the 3 viewpoints is also to the north of London, but it's a little higher and a little further out. Parliament Hill is about 5 miles or 8 kilometres from the Shard, but has about the same height as St Paul's at 320 feet or 100 metres, so slightly higher than Primrose Hill. It's at the southeast corner of Hampstead Heath, and the quickest route is by bus or train to Kentish Town, and then a short walk up to the viewpoint. There is a slightly less direct but I think nicer route via tube to Hampstead, and then you can walk through the area around Hampstead looking at the architecture and across the heath, which is about a mile, so 20 to 30 minutes. The views from Parliament Hill are not dissimilar from Primrose Hill. They're slightly more restricted, you're slightly further out but slightly higher up. And I would say if you only have time to visit one of Primrose Hill or Parliament Hill, Primrose Hill is probably easier to get to and has slightly better views. So that's a quick canter through my 3 favourites in central London, my 3 favourite viewpoints around London. So I hope you found it useful. It's given you perhaps a bit of inspiration if you live in and around London, or if you're going to be in London. So let us know in the comments below, what's your favourite viewpoint where you live? And as always, I look forward to seeing you on a future video.